Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. David, welcome to the Principal Podcast. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here, Guillaume.
It is my pleasure. And you pronounce my name perfectly without even asking how to. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah.
Here we go. What's the story, David? What got you into valuation consulting and investment research? What's the story?
Well, I was on Wall Street before the tech bubble, so I had a chance to learn how to do research sort of the old-fashioned way. And then as the tech bubble sort of took over, I was at Credit Suisse, which was the number one tech IPO firm during the bubble, and it was pretty clear that analytical rigor or good research really wasn't part of the equation for making money for those guys at the time. And I realized that if there wasn't going to be a technology to do the work the right way, to read filings and read footnotes, if I didn't create that technology, I didn't know who would. If there wasn't a technology to do it, I didn't think there were going to be people to do it. And that theory is proven to be true because we built the technology and it produces a superior measure of earnings, or a better mousetrap for earnings, and it generates alpha in a live traded index. And so clearly no people or no other machines are doing it. Otherwise we wouldn't have the alpha.
I love a good logical approach. What's the problem that you solve now? What is it that you're helping people achieve, essentially?
Making informed decisions about investing in stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, or bonds. So, look, a lot of what we hear in the media and the prevailing narratives is what the companies or what Wall Street wants us to hear. AI is a great example. Do we hear about how bad the AI is when asked tough questions? Do we hear about how bad the data that drives AI is? No, we hear about artificial generative intelligence and how it's going to displace millions of workers, take over the world. They want us to be afraid of it because it's so powerful, because that distracts us from the truth, which is most AI is just based on the internet, which is why it's wrong so often. And when it doesn't know what the answer is, what does it do? Hallucinates, it lies. So we're here to give people a clear and easy path to getting to the truth about fundamentals of stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds, and therefore just make better decisions.
Who do you do this for? Is it B2C, B2B, companies, vertical, industry, company size? Who do you help?
It's everyone, Guillaume. It's everyone. Anybody in the business of making a capital allocation decision. So we've got corporate clients, we got companies who have used our services in the past to figure out how they should better run their business. We've got clients who advise companies. Ernst & Young was a client. They used it to go in and help how the companies would understand their profitability. Just Capital is a similar type of client. They are helping companies understand how to generate more value by operating a better business. And then we've got big quant clients like Goldman Sachs Asset Management, Two Sigma, so big institutions, big money managers. But then we also have RIAs and individuals as clients. The technology was designed to scale. So we can serve everybody in the system. Now, the level of detail that I give to a Just Capital or to a Goldman Sachs Asset Management is a lot more granular and a lot more data than what I'm going to give to the retail. And the retail investor is going to get the benefit of all the work we do, which is green means good and red means bad on a stock or an ETF, but they don't get to see all the data behind it. The quants, they want to see all the data behind it because, of course, they think they can do it better than we can. We say, sure, go ahead. But for the folks on the individual investor spectrum, you're getting the benefits of all the deep work we do in the footnotes to deliver a better answer. but you get the answers only without all the back work.
I feel I'm gonna like what I'm about to ask here. So, I mean, I'm gonna like the answer, obviously. Otherwise, that's just self-praising, and who does that? Self-praising. So, in investments, I'm of the school of Warren Buffett. I'm like, sure, over a long time horizon, very few things beat the S&P 500 and a good index fund. My question to you, David, which is intentionally a bit cheeky, why should we even bother and not just invest in S&P 500 and let it compound?
I think that's a great question, and I recommend that most folks don't bother. Unless you're going to be serious about it, right? Unless you're going to really accept the challenge that Warren Buffett points out. Look, either if you can pick stocks better than the market, well, then you should go do that. Or if you believe you can, you should go do it. If you don't, then don't, because it is a very difficult hurdle to beat. And that's why part of why we're so proud of the fact that our core earnings leaders index beat the S&P 27 to 18% last year. And we're outperforming again this year. It's outperformed since inception, this index. And so I think the answer is you should not do anything but buy index funds unless you know you have some kind of an edge. And I believe that's what we're delivering with the core earnings leaders index. We have a better mousetrap for measuring earnings. We're also not as tied to, the Mag 7 or Mag 8. In some ways, I would say, Guillaume, the S&P 500 is not as safe an investment as it was when Warren Buffett made those comments, because it is so concentrated in so few stocks now. And I think in many ways, index investing has become its own worst enemy, because it's a sort of self-reinforcing problem where more money just flows into the index, and it flows into a particular set of stocks, which are a larger part of the index, and that gets worse and worse and worse until we get to the point where a handful of stocks make up 30% of the index. And I think that's hurt the S&P. It's not as good. I don't know if Mr. Buffett would say the same things about being in the S&P as he said in the past. Regardless, I think index investing is a lot safer for most people, unless you've got some kind of edge.
The one thing that makes me think you're right is the fact that Berkshire Hathaway is currently sitting on close to 400 billion in cash that are not in the S&P 500. So who knows? I'm a MSCI World guy anyways. So when you have such a large target market, David, individuals, retail, Goldman Sachs, corporations, Ernst & Young, basically almost everyone that is more or less related to the financial market at some point. How do you market? How do you brand? How do you get the attention of the right people to say, hey guys, we can help here? What has worked for you to do that?
That's a great question. And I get it all the time. And one of the things I find is that the institutional investors want a lot of the same things as the individual investors. Everybody wants the answer to be boiled down to its simplest essence. No reason to dress things up in flowery, unnecessary complexity. Synthesize it. Give me the answer. Make it short and sweet. And so the products don't have to be that different. Again, it's just depth of the product. Like, for example, our professional clients get access to our long ideas and our most dangerous stocks reports, right? Where we do detailed, deep analyst work on particular companies, where we take advantage of our models to better understand the business, its competitive position, the width of the moat, its valuation, its true earnings, all of that in an 8 to 10 page report, detailed dive. And that's something that people pay up for. So we can, there's no reason an individual can't be an institutional client. We have that. We have some individuals who sign up for institutional services because that's what they want. They want that level of detail. They want that sophistication. And we have professional money managers that sign up for our individual services because, they're cheap and they don't really need that detail. So it's it's not so much that different people can't use different pieces. It's all designed to do the most important thing very well, which is to get you a clean, clear, honest answer. And then the amount of depth you want behind that is different. And then we make sure we package things clearly on our site so that people can very easily pick and choose what it is they want.
So that's the positioning, right? That's like, guys, at the end of the day, you want the same thing as everybody else, which is information condensed to its simplest form, complicated sentence. That allows you to make an informed decision. Fine. How do you get that positioning and message in front of the people, David? What has worked for you to get in the door of Goldman Sachs? How do you speak to the market and position you and the company, obviously, as the authority that people need to go to if they want to be the S&P 500? What do you do there?
That's the kind of the old-fashioned way. We put up some really good numbers. So early in our history, we had model portfolios that outperformed, and that got us on CNBC and the Wall Street Journal and Barron's. I didn't have any PR people helping me, but they wanted our information. They were interested in what we did in the footnotes. They knew that this is what Warren Buffett does. More recently, we had sophisticated and very large and prestigious institutions publish major papers about our data and our research. In particular, Harvard Business School and MIT Sloan professors published a 70-page paper about how our measure of earnings was better than anything else that had been discovered before. That made it into a peer-reviewed journal. That got us the attention of all the quants. Ernst & Young published a paper around how we measure return on invested capital better than anyone else. That got us in front of a lot of corporates. Harvard Business School wrote another paper about how our stock rating system outperforms human systems or human ratings. Not always a big surprise because Wall Street ratings are typically very bad, but that got us in front of a lot more retail people. And then we also work really hard on partnerships. So, we've had partnerships with Schwab and TD Ameritrade that have gotten us in front of lots and lots of individual investors. We've had partnerships with, and still do, with FactSet and London Stock Exchange and Capital IQ and Bloomberg, where we can distribute our reports, snippets of our reports, to large numbers of people. They see it, they see quality, they reach out to us. Also helps a lot that we have the Core Earnings Leaders Index and a live traded ETF that have outperformed. That gets us in front of a lot of people. And then lastly, that's a partnership with Bloomberg separately as well. So we get all the Bloomberg benefits of that, or marketing there. And then lastly, and most recently, Google Cloud invested over $2 million in us to build an AI agent for investing. I think the best and the first and only AI agent for investing based on truly and verifiably accurate data. And so that's got us on a lot of radars because the Google Cloud folks did a big presentation at Google Cloud Next back in April. And everybody's interested in AI. And I get requests all the time, like, how do you know AI is trustworthy? How do you know if it's real? I'm like, well, check the data. And if they don't want to show you the data, then maybe they have something to hide and you shouldn't trust it. Don't trust a black box. If the data is the internet, how much would you trust in your life or an investment decision to the internet? And so that's kind of how we've done it.
How did you get a hold of Google Cloud?
Great question. One of my best friends from college was the head of professional services at Google Cloud, and we were together on a sort of a mini vacation. We took our sons, are both wrestlers, and we took them to the Penn State wrestling camp at University of West Georgia, which is a great camp, and it's a real gift that those guys come down to our neck of the woods and do that camp. And so I was with my friend who runs professional services at Google Cloud, and I said to him, "Hey, Brad, I know you guys are spending $15 billion a month on infrastructure and compute and energy and data centers. what are you going to put in all those data centers? What's the data driving all that compute, the inference, those chips? And he said, it's a good question, David. We don't like to talk about that too much. I said, I know, because it's just the internet, right? He's like, what else is there? I'm like, well, there are data sets that are proven accurate. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, we've got this paper from Harvard Business School and Ernst & Young and Journal of Financial Economics and these indices from Bloomberg. It proves that our data is superior. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He said, well, that's exactly the special sauce we're looking for to demonstrate the power of our technology when it's endowed with accurate and reliable data. And so that was we just took it off from there. Within a month, we had a prototype. Within 4 months, we had a working AI. They invested a lot of time and resources, paid us for our time and expertise, and it's all based on our data. And what they get is to show the world that an AI agent for investing can give real answers to questions like, what are the best stocks in the tech sector? Which companies are most likely to miss earnings next quarter? And those answers are based on research that's generating real alpha in the stock market right now. So it's reliable. It's something upon which deterministic rules can be built and written. And so that's how that works. I hope that makes sense, because AI gets complicated real fast, and I tend to be a little too nerdy about these things.
Oh no, you're good. I want to go down the rabbit hole, and we are, because hey, this is my show, so we do whatever we want. I was going to ask you, but where is the data coming from? So it's coming from this research. But then the question is, who makes that research?
All of our data comes from corporate filings. We're not making it up. So if it's a private company, we take the filing. If it's a public company, we take the filing. It can come from the SEC. It can come from other exchanges. Come directly from the company. But it is their official published results. And what we're doing that no one else is doing is organizing and classifying that data more intelligently. That's exactly what Harvard Business School and MIT Sloan professors spent 70 pages proving. There are a lot of companies out there that can pull the data, but classifying it, understanding the specific nuances between accounting line items that look the same but mean different things, or look different and mean the same thing, that's something that takes a lot of pretty unique expertise. Not many people have it. You have to know accounting really well. You have to know finance really well. You have to know economics really well. And then you need to know technology really well to put it all together. And I've just found that that's a pretty rare combination of skills. And it's something that I think gives new constructs a wide moat.
What about filings that are hiding the truth and that are therefore not the right data?
Well, they hide the truth legally in a lot of ways by burying it in filings that are 200 to 2,000 pages long. Who has time to read that? The average filing length, Guillaume, is 200 pages. So every quarter, or at least twice a year, between 800 and 400 pages, you got to do your work. And people cover, a dozen companies at a time. Let's say it's 1,000. So you're looking at what, 4,000 to 8,000 pages? Who's doing that work? They're not. That's what my big clients tell me all the time. David, I know you're going to put the price up on me this year, but I don't mind, because it would cost me millions to replicate what you've done.
Very interesting. How did you keep clients after that? You come in, you help Google Cloud come up with an infrastructure for their data within their 15 billion per month spend of infrastructure. And then what? What's the next problem to solve, and the next problem, and the next problem? Or is it just a retainer from there? How does it work?
Yeah, so for us, we're US focused. And our next step is to go global, to provide a database of information across all publicly traded companies. The automation we use to cover 10,000 stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds, super efficient. We do that with a team of 4 full-time people and 2 folks in South America that are, our analysts. And so our technology is super powerful. We're ready to scale globally. That's the next problem to solve. I think the other problem is more ETFs, more products that investors can invest directly into. So they can do what Warren Buffett said to do, which is don't pretend that you can pick stocks better than the market. But they could look at our products and say, hey, these guys have a better mousetrap for measuring earnings. So maybe I would like to invest in a fund that held all the same stocks as the S&P 500, but weighted those stocks based on their core earnings capture. How much better were their true earnings than the reported earnings? That's what the core earnings leaders index is based on. It holds the stocks in the top 100 stocks in the Bloomberg 1000 that have the highest core earnings capture. Core earnings capture equals our proprietary measure of core earnings minus net income divided by assets. So the companies whose earnings are most understated get the biggest weighting and make it into our index. And then the enhanced S&P 500 product, it makes so much sense, right? You want to. It's basically a better S&P 500 because right now it's all market cap weighted, like most funds. And ours would be, why don't we weight it based on fundamentals, the truth about fundamentals? We think that concept could apply to virtually unlimited number of index and fund concepts, and that's a big place for us to grow as well.
I like your style, David, and I'm very intrigued by the model in the first place. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball question at you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
What's your number one challenge right now? What is the one that you're trying to crack that, once you crack, you take the whole thing to the next level? What would that be for you?
Right now, honestly, it's capital to grow. We're looking to go global, and we've been a friends and family business our whole life, and that's meant that I've had a really pretty small budget. It's made us super efficient, but to go global, it's time to step up and be a big boy company and have a right size team. Like the team I mentioned right now, it's incredibly efficient, but it's too small. It's small, right? Like in order to grow and create new products and also tackle new data sets. Right, we'd love to get all the 13F filings and all the hedge fund and ETF filings, all the fund filings, and get all the holdings directly. We pay somebody for that now, not a lot, but that's stuff we could collect. Proxy statements, we'd love to collect data from proxy statements. We have a better way of tackling unstructured data, I believe, than anybody else, and that's why I chose to go with financial footnotes, because I think that's the single most complicated unstructured data in the world. So when I set out to build new constructs, I said, we're gonna go to the top of the mountain. We're gonna do the hardest thing first, which is to analyze the data that everyone else has better than everyone else and generate alpha. Once we do that, I think then we've established enough credibility to say we can apply that same approach to other kinds of data sets and create value as well.
I was on mute. How are you going to get access to that capital?
Oh, we're talking to people right now.
Nice.
There's no easy way to do that. I had a hedge fund 10 plus years ago. We started it probably 15 years ago, and we performed very well, but raising capital is difficult. So we are in the middle of doing that right now, and it's not an easy thing to do. So we're cranking on that.
Love that for you. What's a big opportunity that you see in your space, David? What's the one thing that excites you to work on in the next 6 to 12 months? We talked about challenge. What's the big opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's both AI and financial products. I think creating a family of ETFs like the one we have right now that's based on superior data. I think it's super popular. It's a way for investors to directly tap into the value of what we're doing. Our research is great for people, like you said, who think they can beat the market and they want to have the best data. They should be absolutely using us. There's no one better. No one understands or analyzes fundamentals better than we do. No one's got a stock rating system that Harvard Business School wrote a paper about. No one's got data that Harvard Business School and MIT Sloan professors wrote a paper about. That's the best in the world. That's why it drives investment products that beat the market. So I think that's a big thing. And then I think our AI agent for investing is amazing. This is what should be on every person's computer or desktop. And I think, we got a lot of potential partners there. We're talking with a big broker dealer about financial products and AI both, because I think broker dealers are potentially our best partners, right? Because they can use the AI and the research to better equip their analysts and advisors to market to new investors to attract AUM, as well as allocate enormous amounts of capital to the financial products. So that's kind of the big opportunity, I think, or the most excites me most is I want to create new financial products. I want to take core earnings and I want to partner with firms like Just Capital or Paragon Intel and see the overlap between the companies they like and we like and create a product on that. I want to create core earnings leaders in Europe, in Asia, in each country, maybe in each sector. So everybody can take advantage of a superior measure of earnings to pick stocks. I think that's something that the world deserves. And I think something that will make the world a better place. Let's invest. Let's have strategies based on the truth about profitability. How's that for a change? And so I think there's a lot of ways we can use that. And there are a lot of ways we can create different versions of that based on different overlays. We could say, hey, let's keep it, something simple like the best stocks based on, core earnings capture that also have the best technical indicators, RSI, right? Take the best of all these different things, put them together. You can do some cool stuff. So I think financial products is a great opportunity. And then AI tools obviously is a great opportunity. Like our AI for fundamental analysis should be on every person's desktop. We've cracked the code on filings. We've done all the work. We built the models. There's no reason for anyone else to recreate the wheel.
David Trainer, ladies and gentlemen. David, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do with new constructs, where should they go?
www.newconstructs.com. Just do a Google search on us. You can search for best financial or investing AI. That should turn us up. Top stock picker. All the good things you think about research, search for that, and hopefully we show up. If we don't, look up David Trainer.
I thought you were going to say, if you don't, well, it means we're not there yet. Come back in a couple of months. But to make sure this doesn't happen, we'll put all the links in the description. For what I'm concerned, David, I can say one thing for sure is that you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me, I just added you. And I will for sure play with prompting Claude, which is the one I'm using lately, to see who's the best. So what's the prompt that you said? Best stock picker?
You can which company has the most reliable fundamental data? Try that in Claude. But Claude does not have access to New Constructs data. Only New Constructs. It's called FinSights. It's a Google Cloud. Again, featured it at their big Next conference in April. But we have a proprietary AI. It's just ours. We don't give it to Claude. We don't give it to Gemini. We don't give it to
obviously
GPT. Yes, correct. It's proprietary data, very private to us. Because if we gave it away, then we'd have no moat. Right? We can't just give it away for free.
No alpha.
You got to sign up for us, and we're actually running a special offer for access starting next week. So sign up for our mailing list, and you can figure out how to get the best AI in the world at a major discount.
We'll put all the links in the description. David, thank you so much for coming on the Principal Podcast.
My pleasure. It was great to talk to you, Guillaume.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.